Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and I have my buddy David with me, Million Dollar Days. He and I worked on a tune together. David, when did we start that?
Probably 2 years ago.
A long time ago. It
August
seems like
2020.
forever, right back when we could actually meet in person. And he's got a new video up for it. We're going to talk a little bit about the song and the process of making the video today. David, welcome. You're in LA? No, you're in the desert.
I'm in the desert in my mind, and in my Zoom background, I'm definitely the desert. Yeah, we shot this video in Joshua Tree, which was beautiful, classic, and awesome. And actually, it was literally awe and religious inspiring.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I've seen the video now, and it's kind of performance video. It's great to see you playing and singing, and your whole team obviously put a lot of thought and energy into it. It's spectacular. We'll show it.
Thank you.
We'll drop it in at the end of this discussion, but there'll also be a link for it, so you can just get bored with us immediately and hop over to watch it anytime you'd like. Everyone. Um, this song started 2 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, apparently my voice memo tells me it was August 8th, 2020, a time of darkness in the United States and in much of the world. And I, you know, as has been happening the past few years, now that I've gotten really open in my creativity has been really flowing. I woke up in that this one morning with this crazy melody lyric in my brain. I didn't have to think too much about it, and I just heard this melody that went to the effect of God, will you say if you still love me? God, will you say if you still love me? Even though we disagree on some important topics now and then. And my first thought was, that's kind of crazy.
So the whole thing just was delivered lyric and melody.
It was
And, and
delivered.
and that's what's still in the song, right? I mean,
I
it's
know.
still that.
I did some minor editing on the words to make it the right number of syllables and the right number of melody, but basically that's what happens when I have these like early morning creative channel ideas. They're sitting there in my brain, and then I'm going, was this good enough to get out of bed? And I grab my voice memo, and I went, this is kind of great and crazy. And one of the things that you and I have talked about is like melodies that are longer, right? That are not just like a two bar melody, la da da da, la da 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 da. I knew that I had delivered to myself an interesting melody, and I thought this is definitely worth getting out of bed and continuing on.
Well, this is not going to surprise you, but I actually have that a voice memo like from the first morning.
Where'd you
I'm
get
just
that?
I'm just kidding. Well, from you.
All
I'm
right.
oh, you're right. I'm so you basically you wake up. I'm going to play it. Here, let's listen, and you can talk our way through it if you want. We'll just hear it.
God, will you tell me, do you still love me? Even though we disagree on some important topics now and
Basically,
then.
you woke up like this.
Some,
Yeah,
some important topics. La 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 la.
There it is, right there.
La la la
That's the
la
song.
la la la. La 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 la.
there's the yawn. So
Ham and
what's
eggs.
ham and eggs? So what's interesting is that yeah, that's right, scrambled eggs. Da 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 da, scrambled
Scrambled eggs,
eggs.
right? Yeah.
Right. So what happens in these first versions is like I don't know what key it's in. I
Right.
just have it in my head, and my mouth goes, "Really? Is this the key?" And my brain goes, "Dude, we'll work on that next." Um, but so it just popped out. It's like so I don't forget it. I sing it into the phone. But there it was, that crazy lyric direction and that crazy melody. And I, as a producer songwriter, I went, that melody is really interesting. I can't really take responsibility for it. Uh, but I had, as a songwriter producer, I was like, that's cool. I don't know what the hell that thing is, but it was clear that the lyric writer in me had something it wanted to say. And so I basically woke up and then I just recorded that and I went, like I usually do when I write these things, I went, that's ridiculous. I'll never write that song. And then I had a cup of coffee and some orange juice and I went, okay, got it. And 20 minutes later, I finished the song.
Wow. And it's a I don't know if it's proper to describe it as a spiritual song, although you talk about I don't know if it's a personal relationship to God or a more cultural relationship to God in a way that feels very connected to things that I think of as spiritual. The idea of inquiry and questing, the mysterious elements of just what our relationship is to, the moment that we're in right now, and also a broader thing. So and that first lyric is right there in the wake up memo thing. But you know, like, was it a struggle to manage? Because I know you, and you have a spiritual streak, but it's not like I'd ever heard a God song from you before. So like, what's the story?
I know it was kind of insane. I mean, the fact that it was delivered in that line, I just made an agreement with myself that I, as an awake, literally like I just woken up person, was going to finish that song that started breathing forward. I didn't worry about whether I was the person singing the song per se. The
Mm,
way I looked at it, it was a character. It was
hmm
a person that had a certain kind of religious upbringing, questioning the existence of God. Um, one of the things as I was thinking about our conversation today was I remembered there was a quote I heard from Marianne Williamson, whose lectures about A Course in Miracles and sometimes speaks about political stuff. But she did a talk that I heard once, and she said, "Well, we're those of us on a spiritual path. We believe in something, but then we're just sort of afraid that maybe God lost our file." And it's like, I know there's a God, but like, is this how? When do I get mine in a certain kind of way? And that thought always sort of stuck with me. And I think as a songwriter, I was sort of going along with that and speaking to, I mean, also just whether you believe in a traditional God or not, we're in a weird, dark time where, global pandemic and crazy red haired person in the White House and insane stuff going on in the world. And the Black Lives Matter marches were happening and black people were getting killed by cops. And I was really kind of in this like, seriously, what the hell is going on here? And that's so I kind of embraced the impulse and stayed with it. I went, I don't know if I believe all this, but I can definitely, as a songwriter, I can write the song that one line um, suggests. And I think in a way that's what made the writing of it so fast because I just kind of went on like, well, I can't hear you and I can't see you, but maybe you're there. And some people say this, and 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 I've now recorded two versions. We did the video on the second version, but
That's
the
right.
first,
We did a whole first version that was kind of like rock. I don't know, how would you describe it? It felt
I
kind of
just
electronic rock almost.
yeah, I describe it as the angry rock version.
Uh-huh,
You
the
know,
angry.
it was like we can play it. It's actually on YouTube also. I got a
Yeah.
lyric video. So it was loops and I played an aggressive Stratocaster distortion and played cranked up the fuzz on my bass and sang it. And I think you added some organ to it also.
Yeah.
And it was just this kind of kind of feeling. And then there was an element of sarcasm in my brain about the song and the things that the lyric was saying. And it was, sarcasm is anger, basically, right?
Yep.
Um, and so there's a little bit of a screw you creator MFer, you know what I mean? And so that was kind of how I finished the song in the first version. And then I started playing it for people who had a more traditional spiritual perspective. I wanted to sort of get their take on it. And I didn't want to offend and piss people off. And I actually sent a copy to my friend Adrian Pratt, who's a great songwriter and also a pastor. Hi, Adrian. And and I said, man, what did you think of this song? He goes, oh, I like the song. And he goes, and it's also it was in the tradition of people questioning the existence of God. So he took it right in stride and gave it a perspective. And I went, and I didn't want to piss people off. I didn't want to offend believers. I just wanted the song to say, I just wanted to let the song be what it was going to be.
I,
So
I think your second version integrates the humility of the question, God, will you say if you still love me, in a way that we didn't really accomplish in the first version. The first version, like you say, feels angry and sarcastic, and I mean, honestly, it just depends on how you say a lot of these lyrics, right? Like my first read on it, I think I heard a guitar and vocal take on it the first time I heard it. I felt the kind of wry sarcasm. Of course, that's I mean, honestly, it's kind of where we're coming from. But this second version, and I think it really dovetails with the um, the message and the kind of like mission of Million Dollar Days is just much more direct. It feels heartfelt, and I guess it also feels like it's got it's got a kind of an integrity, which I think is much more. Also, is it a little slower? Did you slow it down?
I did slow down. It's the same exact vocal, but I just slowed it down in Ableton.
Wow, Ableton.
And I remember you said that whole you said that's working better a little slower, and I totally agree.
Yeah. It feels like, oh, there's the people we're all asking the question. And I loved having the chance to do some accordion on this. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that makes
I
me
remember
happy too.
I said, hey Chris, I need some accordion on this one. And you said no one ever. But
It sounds good though.
it sounds great. It helps give it this Western kind of vibe. Well, I think in the transition to what was I really going to do another version of this? It's funny to hear the title of this TV show in this perspective. There was this show called Godless on set in the West, and it
Right.
was by the same director of Queen's Gambit. And I watched that, and there was this kind of like Americana desert, evil people coming to town, powerless people, but then they get their act together, and there's just like it was a moral story, but it ended in sadness. And in a way, I was able to go, I can make that version. I can make that version sincerely in my view, it was like a Western town, dusty saloon, people getting killed all the time, unfortunately, not much they could do when the bad guys were mad. Not unlike how it felt to be in America in 2020 and other places too. So there was a way that that was my touchstone, was that a Western town out of control. And so when we started talking about making the video, in
Yeah.
a way, it really made sense to place it in the desert. And also, there's the Americana music scene in the U.S., both Nashville and Joshua Tree and stuff like that. But I don't know. So it's really interesting. But also, one last thing I'll say is that
Yeah.
when I was working with Eric Borsey, the director on this, we kept talking about the meaning of the song, the lyric, and what my performance was going to be like. And he would say, well, when you're singing this, what do you think or feel? And I would say, it's really the character. It's not David always. It's like I am playing a character. I wrote a character, and I do have my own spiritual background and perspective on things, but very much it was I was clear that I wasn't speaking for me necessarily, but I was speaking for the man who was singing the song and the emotions of that song, which, ironically or not, many people have started to relate to. And I didn't, I realized the song was more powerful than just the angry, sarcastic version that we did at first. And if I could be more open about what the meaning and just delivering the song, people could have their experience of it, and people have been really moved. And friends of mine who called, and people I don't know, have said, I watched it a lot of times. I really thought about it. It really affected me.
Would you say that as a result, some that it's changed you at all? That you've had like any kind of revolution around some of the thoughts or feelings for yourself about it?
In some ways, I mean, because Eric, the director, and I had a lot of time together, driving back and forth in the desert and in preparation, and he really wanted to ramp up, or to be not to ramp up, but to be highlighting the spirituality. We had a lot of talks about my spiritual upbringing. As
Hmm.
born Jewish, got bar mitzvahed, argued with the rabbis about things, went to a Quaker school where I really learned about the, Quakerism is essentially that there's the God in every person. and in a way, I believe more in an interior God, if you will, than an exterior man in the sky God. So that was how it landed for me. But I ended up telling him all these stories about my spiritual development, upbringing, and background. And because I, yeah, I did. What was your question?
I just wondered if did you wind up changed? I mean, because the video itself has, for me, it's a blast to see you playing out there in the desert. It's beautifully shot and edited and colored. And just fits the emotional timbre of the song. And you've got. There's a dancer who's a big part of it, and who, for me, I'd like you to talk a little bit about her
Yeah.
contribution. But for me, the experience, because I don't know her at all, she kind of like winds up being somebody on whom I can project the yearning, the thirst for meaning and for definition around these questions. It's something about the way she handles the movement and how she's shot, and sort of, how it works within the context of the video as well. There's a sort of an affectual energy that I'm conscious that I'm projecting quite a bit of the yearning that I just have onto.
No, I agree. I totally agree. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I think one of the things that Jem did is she, she embodied the angst, she embodied the pain, she embodied the struggle, and we always used to joke about the Jules Pfeiffer "A Dance for Spring," where a dancer says it's really about this, and in their mind it's about something clear. But I think Jem did a really amazing job of inhabiting the pain and the suffering in a way, and the inner turmoil in a way that highlighted it in a way that my clever wordplay, I didn't try to be ultra clever, but she really brought a different expression, and I think there's a nice like yin and yang of it. Um, you know, in a way, in my discussions with Eric about it, was that like she's kind of partly embodying the pain and also being the feminine, being nature, being the spiritual uh, being in a way. So I don't know. Yeah, I think she did an amazing job, and Eric did an incredible job photographing her and editing the whole piece, so it really feels. The, I When he first recommended maybe we have a dancer in it, I didn't really know how that was going to go. I didn't want it to be just a typical, hey, let's just bring a pretty girl into a music video because music video. But he really worked well with her, and we all worked together on. She's really talking the song with her body, with her movements, and it's really came out. I, I knew it come out well, but I'm really thrilled with what we all did, what she did, what Eric did.
Yeah, I think you should be. So, we could probably talk in great detail about the production, and perhaps in the future we'll do, if there's interest. And tell me, guys, if you're interested in knowing more about producing at distance, because I mean, David and I'm in Northern California, he's in Southern California, and we trade files all the time, talk regularly on the phone, and make things happen. And we do make quite a bit happen together. And
Well,
um,
well,
there's
yeah, one of
something
the things.
about that.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, there's one of the things that even on this song, you played the little voice memo melody, and after I talked to you maybe later that same day, and I was like, I don't even know what key this song is in, man, because the melody was so weird. It was like, is it a minor? Is it A minor? Or is it a G sharp? What is it? So we have these conversations, and I play this piece, and we have these debates and conversations about working out, which is an integral part of my working. It allows me to be ultra intuitive, and I go, Chris, is this note legal?
And the answer is pretty much always yes.
with generally, although there's a lot of notes where you're
We're gonna.
like, no, I'm sorry, you
No,
can't
I
say
can't do that.
that. So yeah, our virtual collaboration is really, I've learned a ton, and
Yeah.
yeah, could be a fun thing if you guys are interested in hearing more about that.
Yeah, right on. Hey, listen, I really want to play the video for everyone. We've probably, talked, and if anyone's still around, and also skip through it. David's one of my oldest collaborators and best friends, and I'm super proud to have been involved in this project, and it's great to be able to talk to you, David, about it. Did we miss anything? Is there anything else we should say?
No, we had great, just, I love the accordion parts really just added something. It's like, I think also that, because I know you guys talk about orchestration a lot,
Right.
and often when I send you a track, you play an accordion, or organ, or a piano a piece that you bring out notes that tell the story of the song, that support the melody in a cool way, that just it enriches the harmonic thing. And it's not, these are not notes that I don't hear, that I hear initially, but when they come back, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally awesome. Oh yeah, that chord's really awesome. It just, so there's so much that your pieces add to the meaning of the song, the sound of the song, the mix of the song. It's really great. So thanks, man.
Thanks. Great. Well, thank you, David. God, will you say if you still love me? The Wild West remix. Is it the first track from Million Dollar Days?
It is. It's the first track of
Right
Million
on.
Dollar Days. The new the EP will be called American Rock Alchemy.
Sweet. Let's go to it now. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.
Cheers.
God, will you say if you still love me, even though we disagree on some important topics now and then? Yes, I know it's important to keep a little distance, keep a little mystery. I know when you don't speak directly, except to certain interested parties who have taken on the task. And I know you can see me, but you don't show your face. But some would say your hand is everywhere. Ooh, 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 and I'm waiting for the answers. Me and everybody else, we're waiting for the moment that you reveal yourself. And we're praying for the answers. Me and everybody else, waiting for the moment when you reveal yourself. And I know you can see me watching from above, but I don't understand the way you show your love. And I hope you can hear me, the words of this song. If you've got the time, you can sing along. Ooh, 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 and I'm waiting for the answers. Me and everybody else, we're waiting for the moment that you reveal yourself. And we're praying for the answers. won't you tell me you love me now? God, won't you tell me you love me now? God, won't you tell me you